Do you want to speak to Tussling? I saw it on your Insta. I'm like, who's Tussling? So, and then Outlander was in it. And I mean,
Oh,
I
right.
love Outlander.
Yeah.
Early on Outlander. I haven't been watching the latest season because I got bored. But anyway, just that Tussling. Yes.
Yeah, so this is fun. I'm glad you found that highlight, because every time I post about tussling, people get so excited and they like want me to write more about it. And I haven't yet written a post about it, but maybe I will one day. So yeah, essentially the fun, well, I guess what I'll say first, just to kind of explain it on a baseline level, tussling is a polarity tool that can be used to transmute and alchemize energy between two partners, because one of the just helpful basic foundational truths to understand about polarity is that when you have two complementary opposite forces that come together, there's a friction to that. There is a spark, right? That's what creates passion. That's why polarized relationships are passionate relationships, because if you have two of the same substances with the same charge, it doesn't create friction. But if you have two opposite, like you have electricity and magnetism, you have these two opposite poles, they come together, it literally creates a spark of energy, which is the spark of life. And that's what creates passion. So again, a non-polarized relationship might be really safe. It might feel really like a deep friendship, so to speak, but it's not going to have the spark of passion if it doesn't have polarity. It might feel like, just like, oh, this is very, yeah, we're very stable, we're very calm together, but it might be lacking in that deep, charged like sexual intimacy, passion, connection on that level of chemistry. Because again, it's literally like you thinking about the chemistry of like a science project. To create the spark, there has to be a reaction. So the challenge with polarity and the funneling of that charge is that if it's misdirected, or there's an imbalance somewhere, or there isn't proper containment and harnessing of the charge of that energy, then it can actually be destructive. It can actually create conflict. So sometimes what you'll see in couples that are super polarized, if they don't have proper tools and a proper container to harness and kind of channel that spark of passion, if they don't have healthy outlets for that passion, or if again there's some kind of like just imbalance or distortion somewhere and they're not able to consummate the passion in a contained way, then you have a lot of fighting. You'll have couples that are constantly going at it and going to war with each other, right? And like that can be lots of different things, but sometimes it literally is just an inability to transmute the passion and the friction that gets generated from polarity. So to understand tussling is to understand that polarity generates passion, but it also generates friction. And so if we don't know how to work with friction in the fabric of a relationship, and we, contract against it and we resist it, we're afraid of it, then again, or the other part of this is maybe we're not afraid of it or resistant to it, but maybe we just haven't cultivated the capacity to be present to that charge or sensation in our bodies and hearts. And so we shut down. And so either way, whether someone is shutting down or resisting, they're closing down the harnessing and the channeling of that friction of energy, and it can become then conflict, explosive, right? So instead of it being harnessed, it becomes this big explosion of energy because it doesn't have anywhere to go, right? So this is where I use this very fun term that's called, so sometimes what will happen, say a woman has all this energy built up in her, like all of this passion and sexual energy, and like she wants to be penetrated by a man, but she hasn't been properly penetrated in a while. And as women, we desire and yearn for it all of the time because it's just our design. So say there's this buildup of energy and she hasn't had a way to harness and channel that. What it will often manifest as in women as what I call a desire to fight or fuck. So it's like this charge in her that's like, I need to do something with this energy. So I either am going to fight someone or I'm going to fuck someone. So it's like this like buildup of energy, so to speak, almost like pent up energy if we were to simplify it. And if she's in a polarized union with a man, a fun way to work with that energy outside of just like, okay, well, yeah, he could take her, throw her up against the wall, ravage her, right? Like there's, or they could get into a fight. Maybe they might get into a conflict because she's trying to channel that energy somehow, or they as a couple are trying to channel that friction or that passion between the polarity together. Without tools of just understanding transmutation and alchemy, again, it's like, well, something that isn't a problem becomes a problem, because now you have a couple who has constant conflict in their relationship is at risk because they're like, well, we're fighting all the time and I don't know what to do about it. It's like, well, it doesn't have to be a problem if you know how to work with and flow with the energy in the moment. You can actually make art with that friction. You can make love to that friction. You can dance with it. You can flow with it. You can play with it. You can like literally like have fun with it. But if you're contracted and you're tense and you're freaking out or you're closed, you can't do that. It just becomes a fight, right? Mm-hmm. So what I tell couples, like tussling is a way to actually learn how to dance with the friction in their union of their polarity, and to like really like make something generative and life-giving out of it, instead of it allowing it to become a destructive force. They actually get to like really deepen their intimacy instead of create separation or greater divide. They get to harness that friction for the betterment of the union. And so tussling is basically where a man learns over time, and he gets to practice this with his woman, how to handle her when she is in that fight or fuck mode, when her energy gets built up and pent up and she's desiring penetration, she's desiring containment, because as women, these are two things we strongly desire from the masculine all of the time, is containment, because we have literally like these oceanic waters, right? We want the riverbanks to hold the ocean or to hold the river. We want the shores to create that reference point of safety for our endlessness and our mystery. So we want the containment of that firm masculine energy. And we also just want to be penetrated because we're so receptive and open in our core. So we're constantly hungering for different forms of penetration or containment from the masculine. Both of those he can provide for us through tussling. So basically, if he meets us in that energy of our fight or fuck energy, where our feminine waters are swelling and we're like, I don't know what to do with this. There's so much energy and emotion and expression and like, it's pouring out of me and I don't know what to do. And this is where we're like, I need help. I need the masculine. Like I could just pour all over the place, but like, that's not fun, because I want a reference point to experience myself and my love and my passion with. So we'll take it to a man, masculine, right? Like, help me, like contain me and penetrate me. Now, if a man reacts and he is afraid of our fight or fuck energy and he's like, no, and he pushes it away, or he's like conflict avoidant, or, you know, again, maybe he takes it personally, like, oh, I've done something wrong, or he rejects us or something like that. That will then mean that that energy doesn't get harnessed, and it either becomes explosive and we try and pick a fight, or something else might happen, right? So it might create, like I said, a separation or a divide between the two people. So if a man can meet us in that and hold space for that charge of like buildup of energy, that fight or fuck energy, then he can tussle with us in the moment, and he can become playful and curious and dominant instead of kind of getting like railed over by this energy. It's like he drops into his core and he plays with us in it, and he like meets us in that and dances with us in that. So we might come to him in that energy, and he might, instead of, you know, getting defensive and closing down, he might pick us up, throw us over his shoulder, carry us back to the bedroom, throw us on the bed, and like, okay, now like bend over, I'm going to spank you. Like he might put us over his knee and like spank us and totally discharge the energy and shift our mood and our mode very quickly, like shift the energy, right? Or we might be like on a tangent, just going off about something and ranting about something, and he might like grab us and like plop us down on his lap and like contain us and like whisper something into our ear, or like tickle us or flirt with us. And again, like reroute the energy, give it a space, a container. He might penetrate us in that, right? Like it's like a way to play with that intensity of energy in the moment And again, he might play fight with us. He might grab us and wrestle with us. Like if we're all pent up and build up and we're trying to start a fight and we're taking things personally, he might stay playful and humorous and like calm in that, and just like, okay, well, I'm just going to grab her and wrestle with her and help her get out this energy. And it creates this transmutation that often will lead to intimacy, or it will lead to merging again, right? It's like it discharges something in our feminine core, and it allows for him to then also show up for us and be our hero and get to kind of fulfill his own masculine desire to penetrate, to lead us, to support us, to guide us, because all men want to do that and provide that, even if they don't know how in the moment or they're disconnected from that. It's in their design as well to want to be our heroes. So they get to support us and help not only discharge, but like move that energy, make art with that energy, create with us in that. Instead of it creating separation, it creates deeper union. And there's so many fun ways men can do this, but essentially they just have to learn how to, in those moments, stay playful and curious and open and stay confident and calm and not reactive, because that gives them the capacity to wield their consciousness to like, well, how does this energy in her want to move in the moment? How can I be of service to this energy in her to bring us back into union, to let this energy be consummated and harnessed and channeled? Instead of it leading to destruction, I'm going to lead us into a creative space, a generative space of connection and intimacy. And it just, you know, again, they can like have so much fun with it too. It can be like experimentative and playful, and just he can use his instincts in the moment to reopen us back up to love, into our ability to merge with and be in union with him and to trust him, essentially. And it does require a little bit of that dominance and authority, right? Because he has to trust himself and his own authority and own masculine core to, well, she's like about to start a fight with me and now I'm going to grab her and spank her. Like he has to trust himself for that. He has to trust that fierceness or that like firm stability in his own core to not react to us in that moment, to not take it personally, to almost have this kind of like sense of humor. But he's not diminishing us, he's not making fun of us, he's inviting us back into love in those moments, and penetrating that constriction in us, so to speak.
I love that. That felt like that still point or the rock with the wild water.
Yeah. Yeah, we're like crashing all over the place, right? And he's just like kind of, you know, sitting there entertained, smiling at us, calm, non-reactive. It's, you know, it's almost maddening, but it's also what we crave the most, because it shifts something inside of us to have that reference point. Like I'm over here totally chaotic and unstable and like overly expressive and dramatic, and you know, my waters are just, I don't have any place to put them. And then here's the masculine just kind of like smiling, holding space, present, calm, grounded. It's like this anchor in the reference point that our nervous system feels that and orients to that, so to speak.
It's like making art with it. You spoke to that beautifully, making art out of it as opposed to a tumultuous fight.
Right.
Yeah.